Ladies and gentlemen, this is Colin Dawson with Lockdown Movie Reviews, bringing you another one out here. Granted, I know a lot of you are locked down, and I hope you got some way to watch them on demand or anything else. I'll be honest, I went to this one movie theater, was the only person there for this movie, and they had just opened it back up. This week they're closed down again. It was Judas and the Black Messiah. I will have to say the actors are great in it. I will say that the cast, Daniel Kaluuya, someone on Magnolia is going to smack me for that one. They taught me whenever I was younger, when you see the two together, it means that you pronunciate it properly and loudly. Like Keith Stanford, Jesse Plemons, Dominic Fishback, Ashton Sanders, Darrell Britt Gibson, Lil Ray Howery, Algie Smith, Dominic Thorne, and Martin Sheen. These were some of the best for anything that I could say is probably not going to be in there for the Oscar somehow. Not going to be in there because of politics or something else. But this is one of the best acted movies I've seen in a long time. Most everybody else goes in there and then you can see that they have their charisma, their panache, their ability to bring this to each one, and it's the powerful of the person. I think in this one, most of the actors came in and did a different style of acting, which most of what we have is like Hugh Jackman. They just accepted that he's part of Wolverine. These people seem to embody the characteristics. They really seem to pull more of the soul of whatever's there. They've all had acting jobs. You've all seen them in bits and pieces or something else out there. They seem not to bring themselves to the movie. They brought something else to it. And I have to say, in a way, that's commending them so much. My mother and a few people went on about a lot of this whenever I was younger, told me a lot of it, and I'm going to spare you any details, everything out there, whatever you want to hear. I'm not going to go in that's like, he's alive, Malcolm X, everybody else, and Elvis somewhere out there. I'm going to spare you the conspiracy theories of that and everything. And just be like, it takes you through so much about how the FBI worked, and then the CIA and other people out there in and of itself at the time. And while I'd love to say that there's just this other place, like after J. Edgar Hoover got done telling everybody how to do this, look out for whoever it is, and everything else, that it was his own internal bust for like white supremacy, people that would be dissidents from World War II to everything else in World War I. And in another room right behind there, he goes in and he's talking to people who are basically black supremacists, other people, and back in the back there's someone else watching from a room, and they're going to pick people to work with or anything. And that's how the CIA guy got in there. And it shows basically the whole struggle between everyone. And I liked how it showed that right before they arrested the Black Messiah, that he went in there and he talked with white people. And he showed that they had the same problems, the same situation and everything. And it was so wonderful. And then they put him in jail because they didn't have a receipt for the ice cream. And someone had picked up the ice cream and he had gotten told, basically he was arrested for stealing $70 worth of ice cream and put in jail for 2.5 years. He was let out on basically father can be there for his unborn son. He didn't know that he had gotten this one girl who had been sweet on him, pregnant and everything, and it was this big shock and everything else. And he was going to go back in. It was one of the longest running lawsuit cases. Every time someone died that was there for it, they lost the testimony for it because they wouldn't cross-examine them or anything. For wrongful death was Chicago, and it settled for way less. And I think the movie really did show how the final shootout went. There's 2 or 3 shootouts where it's like the police were out there hounding them, saying everything. And yes, there's 1 or 2 people that's like, it's a bad apple. And they look for people or anything else that are in there. And they always go for some sort of organization like that. Because since he was bringing people together, anyone will target him. And those guys were really good guys in a way. They had their weapons and everything permitted. And however it is that it went down, it's what it went down individually with, and they just happened to be members. Then they came and started shooting up their headquarters, and I thought that it was absolutely spot on with how they showed that they surrendered after a bit. They rebuilt it, even brought the gangs in, and the gangs were being nice about stuff. One of the guys died in police custody later on from a shooting situation. And, you know, I know I'm jumping around a little bit in this movie, but it was so powerful with the drama. I mean, when they shot up the headquarters, they waited for others to shoot first. And the police were found to have shot first and everything. And that's why they got the headquarters back, got to put up everything again and all of that. And my mom took me through that. My granddad did also. I just can't understand where some things go so wrong with it and everything. And I look at it all and, you know, he had the chance to get C4 from the informant. And they brought up in the end credits, Eyes on the Prize 2. The guy went out and committed suicide the night that it aired. And I just got to go on and look at it and say, if the guy had lived, he wasn't going to flee to Ghana, which if he had fled to Ghana, it had meant that he was a foreign entity and that he would then be looked at as a foreign political conspiratist. And they gave him a bunch of money from one of the gangs that he kind of like turned being proactive, you know, no longer really gangs or anything. And then of all things, he was able to somehow put it all together and get it to work. And he was going to make a clinic for people that had been shot or anything else, and going to make it legal, legit, and other stuff so they could have their own doctors, their own nurses, and everybody there for it. And, you know, eventually everybody came together, and there wouldn't be any need for separation or anything else. And people could trust everybody when they see them on the street. There's a grassroots network. And basically, through being responsible armed citizens, just like when he went in there with the poor white people saying they were running them off of their corners and everything, they could have brought together so much of what is the poverty issue in this country, in the major cities and everything, and had a new renaissance. I encourage anybody to go and see this movie. It may not have the millions of dollars, and I don't think that it's necessarily going to get in there. And it is a beautiful situation. Heart-wrenching at the end. And a drama ride that you just want to be in there on. And I have to say, I give it probably a 10 out of 10. Just because of how modern and recent it is and everything. And the fact that it really did rely on acting and the scenery and no CGI, no anything else. And I think it is absolutely wonderful. This is Colin with Lockdown Movie Reviews. Like and subscribe. You gotta wait till the end. All of it.